Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm saying good morning because I'm determined to have a good day in spite of yesterday's antics. If you have been living under a rock or in seclusion, yesterday the United States of America experienced, witnessed insurrection. There's no other way to put it. Insurrection at the beginning of the vote to confirm the electoral votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Um, White folks decided to storm the Capitol building. And what began as a protest turned into an angry mob and they very terroristic behavior. There were explosive devices found at the Capitol building, and they were disarmed and dealt with. Weapons. These people had weapons on them. 9 millimeters were like just in the face of Capitol Police. But we also saw Capitol Police opening the barricade, letting these folks in. We saw Capitol Police taking selfies with these people. It took way too long to get any type of. This is supposed to be the most secure place, secure building. I went to an HBCU. It was harder to get into the step show during homecoming. It was harder to get into the cafeteria without your ID. It was just. This was all too simple. And as I read this morning and I see, information from Representative Maxine Waters, where she had hours-long conversation with Capitol Police 4 days ago, they assured her that everything was well. DC submitted a request for the National Guard 2 days prior. They were denied. We all know what this is. And so I don't even want to call it collective outrage, but the the response from Black America specifically is very interesting to see. I'm not here to judge people's response because Black people's relationship with America is very sensitive, and there's no right or wrong to me. It's just like somebody that you follow, that you love. Sometimes you don't love their actions. You know what I'm saying? You don't love how they treat you, but you love who you love, and it's toxic. You know what I mean? You don't just fall out of love from that person. You might move on, but sometimes those feelings are still there. We have a twisted relationship with America. Black folks been here since 1619 when we didn't ask to be here. I just want to tell Black folks, y'all don't be shocked or amazed at none of this. This is whiteness at work. Joy Ann Reid on the readout made it very clear. Tanya, you're right. We need to stop pretending to be surprised because this is it. Like, Black folks been knew this was it. I think all of this is happening so white people can see themselves. And the shock that white people have on Twitter at what happened yesterday, it's like Black people over here sipping tea, drinking, eating, because it's like we've been trying to tell y'all this, but y'all tried to make Black people out like we were crazy. Like, oh, y'all always playing the race card, and why? It's not that bad. Is it bad now? We told y'all this was going to happen 4 years ago. When the election cycle started, we told y'all this was going to happen. We told y'all what the language stand back and stand by meant. But we were the crazy ones and all of this carrying on. Do you believe it now? Do you believe it now? There was no rubber bullets yesterday. Tear gas didn't come out. till towards the end. But Black Lives Matter got full on riot gear, tear gas. My niece got shot in the arm with a rubber bullet. Her arm is still healing. She'll never be the same. A whole hot mess. And I like Tanya, it was a normal day. Yeah, it was upsetting for me because it was just like it didn't have to be this way. But I also understand that sometimes things got to get a little bit more toxic for people to realize what's going on. See, some people can't accept what you say, they got to experience it firsthand. It's like I say, fat meat really is greasy, but people, you can't convince some people of that. You can't convince some people that things are bad for them until they experience and digest it for themselves. You eat enough fat meat and get sick. Get sick enough from eating fat meat and see how your body feels. See what this thing does to you. Yesterday was white people digesting a whole lot of fat meat. Just greasy fat meat. When these people took down the American flag and put up a Trump flag, girl, yeah, Tanya, I did the same thing. I sat here and just drank my water, sipped my tea, cooked my dinner because Black people, this ain't got nothing to do with us. Let me say this. If y'all haven't seen that clip of Joy Ann Reid, I put it on my Instagram stories. Go take a look. You can go out there. It's like a minute clip. Niecy Nash has it on her page. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of people circulating it. She broke it down. She made it plain. This is all about white people not accepting Black people's votes. Last night, Horace Towns said it, and he just said it in a different way on the Black Super Friends. They had a special broadcast, and we're not citizens, and that's why the Voting Rights Act has to be voted on all the time, constantly, to be re-upped so we could vote. I'm mad that Black votes mattered. I'm mad that voter suppression did not work. This is all about race. There are two Americas. I've been saying this. We all know this. Black folks always knew this, but again, it's two Americas. It's white folks and everybody else. And last night, Joy Reid said it. She was like, listen, white people are not afraid of the police because the police work for them. And we saw it. We saw it. I saw a clip this morning. Kev on Stage has a clip on his Instagram where they interviewed a white woman who got tear gas, and she was shocked and appalled that she was tear gas because she tried to storm the Capitol building because it's their building. And when asked why, I don't know, the reporter asked her why. She said because it's a revolution. I've been saying for years that these people want us another civil war, but y'all, it's not going to go the way they think it's going to go. Black people, stop being surprised at whiteness. We saw white privilege on display yesterday. Why do I say that? Black people got shot for less in 2020. These people stormed the Capitol. I mean, they committed insurrection, heinous crimes against our Constitution and our democracy. Folks got their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. They in there taking pictures of federal documents, and if they could have, they would have got them ballots and set them on fire. But what did we see? Selfies. We see these people getting taken by the hand and escorted down the steps of the Capitol building as they cleared the building and just made sure that they were off to safety. And politely and pushed back. They don't want us here, but they're dependent on us. Tanya is right. White people don't want us here, but they need us because we do the work they don't want to do. We do the stuff that, let's be real here. If we were not here, half the inventions and things that white people enjoy today, they wouldn't have. We wouldn't even have the stoplight, Garrett A. Morgan. Washing machines, Black people. I mean, I can run down so many inventions that we enjoy today because of Black people. Black culture, period. None of it makes sense. It's not logical. But here's the thing, racism, all of that stuff is not logical. None of it is logical. It never is. But I really want Black people feel how you feel. I'm not here to judge how you feel. It's scary when you are a parent and you've got to try to explain this to children, especially little children. You know what I mean? Because they're impressionable. Racism is taught. It is a learned behavior. Okay, nobody is born racist. This is a learned behavior. So having to explain this to your children, it is a challenge. But Black people, stop being shocked when you see whiteness work. Let me tell you, a system designed for white people cannot work against white people unless white people infiltrate it from the inside, find the loopholes like Trump always does, and do and make and pervert it. So Black people, we got to stop thinking that, oh, it's going to work for this system is not designed for us. You got to understand, when the Constitution was written, we weren't even people. We weren't people. We were cattle, chattel, labor. We were 3/5 of a person. The Civil Rights Act come along, you know what I'm saying? But voter suppression. What was voter suppression? How many jelly beans is in this jar? If you can guess the right number, you can vote. We weren't people. So the entire system, what you read in the Constitution prior to the Civil Rights Act, all of that didn't apply to us. It was made for white people. So the system works for white people because white people wrote it for white people. That's not a stab, but that's the reality. That's it. That's the foundation of America. That's why there are two Americas, white America and everybody else. Oh, you can come here and you can contribute and make our life wonderful and better and all this other kind of stuff, but don't cross the line. Don't cross the line and make us uncomfortable. Don't cross the line and make us uncomfortable. No, 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 no. You cross the line. You want more for yourself. That's too much. You want more. How dare you want independence? How dare you want a voice and say, how dare you? And Joy Reid said that these folks mad because Black people determined the outcome of the election. And for years, white people have determined the president. White people have determined who's in power. And this time around, they didn't. Black folks came out. Why? Because they pissed Black people off. And that's the bottom line. You pissed Black people off, and now it's a new day. That's what we're seeing. And I agree. I really do believe that Trump needs to be arrested. I believe that he needs to be removed. They need to invoke the 25th Amendment because we can't afford 2 more weeks of him. This man still has the nuclear codes. God only knows what can happen in 2 weeks. Y'all thinking, oh, just let's ride the next 2 weeks out. Okay, go ahead on now. Okay, go ahead on. We can't ride 2 more weeks out. Yesterday was clear. I watched NBC local news, well, NBC News, and one of the reporters were talking, and you could hear them chanting, they will hear our voice today, or they'll feel our muskets tomorrow. So please stop being delusional into thinking that this is unheard of, and this is this whole America, we're better than this. No, we're not. This is America. This is the ugly side of America that white people like to cover up and hide, but this time you couldn't. They couldn't. It was out there for the whole world. I mean, the whole world watched. The whole world watched, and then they finally started talking. I think the first person that I heard, I'm not saying he was the first, but the first report that I heard was Justin Trudeau from Canada. And Canada was just like, what in the whole hell is going on? Germany said something. I mean, the whole world's watching. Boy, you know it's bad when Boris Johnson, the UK version of Trump, saying this is ridiculous. That's pretty much what he said. And he was just like, the whole world leaders are saying Trump needs to concede. But yesterday morning, when he rallied these people in person, he was basically saying we don't concede. But then you expect these people to accept a pre-recorded message. You went out there in person in the morning and said something and rallied these folks. But then in the evening, when it was time in the afternoon to tell them to go sit down and go somewhere, you gonna give a pre-recorded message that you gonna leak on Twitter and Fox News. What? No, carry your behind back out there and lie. Don't be no coward now. But you're going to tell these people that you love them, and you're going to keep spewing all of this foolishness that people that you put into office, you appointed these people, even said that we don't find any evidence of what you're saying. Stand back and stand by. That's what we saw yesterday. All coded language was in full effect. And y'all thought Charlottesville was the beginning? Okay. Okay, because there was very fine people on both sides. You don't tell white supremacists and racists that you love them and expect them to go home. Pence absolutely needs to invoke the 25th Amendment. But here's the thing. He's had so many chances to do that in the last 4 years, and he hasn't. Viable reason. Not just because, oh, we don't like Trump or we sick of it, but viable reason. And he didn't. The GOP overall collectively did this. And they need to own it. All of this backpedaling, Marco Rubio, I don't nobody want to hear what you got to say right now, sir. You politicians gonna politic. Let's be real. Politicians gonna politic. But ain't nobody got time to be hearing you. So yeah, Angela Merkel, I love her. She just the shade she throws is just so good. But that's the reality is you just America is seeing firsthand her leadership. And by America, I mean white America. White America is seeing the people that they repeatedly put into office. Because black people aren't putting these people there. And white people are dealing with themselves. And that's yesterday. That's yesterday. I agree. Black people, respect yourself during this time. Yeah. We need to show who we are for sure. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Pence was hoping for re-election. The GOP can't say anything worth listening to. Yeah, the GOP got nothing. And Ted Cruz out here fundraising yesterday. He literally was fundraising. This man was fundraising yesterday. He was fundraising. For what? For people to support his sedition, that the votes of half of America, which is not true, just black votes is what they really are contending. That's what he was fundraising for. I just think that, black people, wake up. Some of us are so woke that we sleep, while others are so woke that we're hyper. This is not the time to react emotionally. Seriously, don't be out here reacting emotionally. Get somewhere and sit down and watch this play out. Okay? Use wisdom, exercise wisdom, because it's a lot. It's a lot going on. And the GOP did this. Absolutely. Lindsey Graham, there's always a tweet for everything. Lindsey Graham said it in 2016 that if they put forth Donald Trump, it would be the biggest mistake and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. But guess what? 4 years, throughout the whole 4 years, he didn't oppose him. He was a company man. And this is what got us here. Y'all being company people. American leadership, they were talking about, oh, our democracy is fragile. It's always been fragile. It just got tested with a narcissist. He is never going to concede. And this morning they're talking about, now that they have conferred and Biden and Kamala, the electoral votes, they're saying, the White House is saying that Trump will, at the inauguration, do a peaceful transfer of power. Believe that if you want to. I got some swamp land in Florida to sell you. Because I guarantee you, him and all the rest of them are not done eating all of that fat meat at all. Scandalous is not even the word for it. We were 6 days into the new year and this whole hot mess. But it's not like we let them have they time. This is white folks against white folks. The first Civil War was white folks against white folks. This one gonna be white folks against white folks. We get mixed up in it because we live in this country together. So yeah, it's gonna trickle down to us. But this ain't our fight. This ain't our fight. This really is not our fight. This ain't about us. Just like, let me tell y'all something. When things work for white people, when they start putting things in place for them, it trickles down to everybody. White folks got to get sick of white folks. Last year, white folks won't sick enough of this version of themselves that erupted over the last 4 years. They always existed, but it wasn't about, not, I don't know, it was just their comfort wasn't disrupted enough. So I want to read y'all this quote that somebody sent me this morning, and it's just the gospel truth. And I felt this quote this morning. And the quote is from Albert Einstein. It says, "The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it." And that's white folks in America. For years, they have not done anything about this voice, this side of white America. They knew it existed, but it just didn't disrupt their comfort zone. It didn't disrupt their comfort to care to do anything. And now you got this narcissist that you put up in there. And he never should have been y'all candidate, let alone become president. But he did. And now he's disrupted your comfort. He's disrupted your space. He's disrupted all of this. And now, y'all looking to black people to save you. I've never seen so many white people rally for black counties and communities to come out and vote in all my years of living. But they came out. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't always white people who rallied for us, because we've had some white people always rallying. But I'm talking about in mass, like we've seen, to get this man out. You've seen Reagan Republicans jump ship, and that's saying a lot. So, black people, stop being surprised at whiteness working. A system designed for itself cannot work against itself until somebody goes in that system, finds the loopholes, finds the weak points, finds the gaps, and manipulates it to work in their favor. And even then, if it ain't the right person doing it, meaning you ain't the right color, they're going to find a way for it to not work for you. A system cannot work against itself. The American injustice system works the way it's supposed to because it's designed for white people. It ain't designed for us. Yeah. This whole thing was about black votes. Black votes have always mattered. And finally, voter suppression didn't work. Finally, voter suppression didn't work. America's horns showed. And the question now is, what does America do to its leadership? There's no way in the world Mitch McConnell should have been in leadership this long. He should never have been the Senate Majority Leader this long, let alone be reelected. Kentucky, he got he got half of the poorest counties in this nation are in Kentucky, his state. But guess what Kentucky does? They keep reelecting it. That's a different kind of poverty mindset that it's not even to be explained. Congress ain't gonna give themselves term limits, but the people can when you go vote. And that's what this was about, because voter suppression didn't work. Folks stayed in line. Stacey Abrams is a treasure and a hero and needs to be protected. Wrap her in cellophane and get her own security detail. Because folks already going in about her on Twitter. So midterms are coming up in 2 years, people. Midterms are coming up. We're going to need to keep showing up to vote every single time. Get these people up out of here. If you want change, find you somebody who's a viable candidate. Start grooming them now and get them prepared to get out there and get them some support. Get that money behind them. Get everything you can behind them and get that change that you want to see. Otherwise, you're going to have the same people. Yeah. That's what all of this is about. All votes matter except black votes. And Joyanne Reed said it last night on the readout. So, I just want us to wake up and realize that we got to stop having a love affair, this sick love affair, wanting to be included and wanting something to work for us that's not designed for us, and to stop being surprised when we see it working the way it's supposed to work. We saw the system work the way it's supposed to work. Maxine, Auntie Maxine, she tweeted out this morning about calling for an investigation because she had an hours-long conversation with Capitol Police 4 days ago. 4 days ago. Go out there. It's out there on Twitter. She tweeted it. And they assured her that all was well and everything was secure and wasn't going to be no problem. DC requested National Guard assistance 2 days prior and were denied. They knew. Why are we surprised at any of this? Because I'm not. This is how it works. Like Joyanne said, white people aren't afraid of the police. The police work for them. White people are mad because they didn't get to choose who sits in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's what this is about. So black people, don't be surprised because whiteness works. Whiteness works. Bunch of Todds and Karens showing out with their Confederate selves. Because the Trump flag is just the new Confederate flag. I don't care what you say. It is what it is. Be mad, unfollow, unfriend, whatever. Block me. I'm fine with that because you're not the person that probably need to be following me anyway. It is what it is. I'm a black woman in America. I experienced racism from a very young age. I was in elementary school in the first grade. So this is whiteness at work. Whiteness works. This is white privilege. This is whiteness at work. Again, there are two Americas, black people. We need to stop acting like we don't know that there are two Americas. There are. And we need to hold leadership accountable as best as we can in our way. Stacey Abrams showed us the blueprint for how to fight back. She may not be the governor of Georgia, but I guarantee you, white people are ruining the day that they didn't allow her to be governor, because guess what? She just changed the course of this nation with her efforts. to what? Stop voter suppression. And she stopped it in its tracks. Millions of people voted in the Georgia runoff election before January 5th actual election date. People were voting for the first time. What does this tell you? Don't piss black people off. You definitely don't want to piss black women off. I will say this. I said this last year. I'll say it again, and I'm going to post it later on again today. The system fears black unity. And what we saw at the polls was black unity. Black unity is more than us showing up to protest. Protesting is a right for white people, not for when black people do it. When black people show up to protest, I don't care if it's peaceful. They are threatened by it, and therefore riot gear is automatically enacted. Why? Because remember, when the Constitution was written, it wasn't written for us in mind. We were not in their viewpoint. We weren't in their purview. It wasn't for us. It was for them. White people wrote it for white people. They didn't even write it for indigenous people who were already here, whose land they stole. So stop expecting. Correct. They stole the governorship from Stacey and she took the whole state. And what she said, this is a new Georgia. Let me tell y'all something. This is a new America. Please understand. If the Horstown said it right last night on the Black Super Friends. He said if the Democrats do this right, they can be in power for the next 20 years at least. And he is right. He is dead on, spot on right, because the GOP messed themselves up for a long time. A long time. A very long time. But we got to be smart, like Willie says. We got to use our brain. And black people, this is our time. We got the ear of some key people in power. We just need to leverage it right. We got to be smart. This is where we got to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. We got to be strategic and know how to move and maneuver this thing. But for right now, that's going on right here, this Capitol Hill foolishness, all this kind of carrying on that's going on, we can't get distracted. And I am grateful that Congress did not allow themselves to get distracted and cancel that vote. I'm glad that they pressed on into the wee hours of the night and the morning. I'm sorry to their families that had to happen. But I'm glad that they pressed on and didn't allow those people to stop them from doing their job. They didn't shut down the government because one person even said yesterday, we shut down Capitol Hill. No, you didn't, because the work still went on. If anything, you emboldened them. You gave them the fuel that they need. So some of the GOP who were going to reject the votes changed and voted for Biden and Kamala to accept those electoral votes. So you done defeated your own purpose. So again, black people, sit down somewhere. Get somewhere and sit down and keep drinking your tea. Okay? Keep drinking your tea. Because this ain't about us. And I'm not being funny. This is not about us. This is where we have to just be smart, use wisdom, and go sit down somewhere. And let white people work out white people issues. Because that's what this is. We did our part. We voted. This, what we saw yesterday, was them being mad because our votes got counted. We showed up. And we showed up. So, y'all, that's all I have to say about it. I'm tired, but I'm not tired. It's like, okay, this is America. Y'all better go back and watch that Childish Gambino video. Because this is America. Y'all have a good day. I love you all. Find ways to spread love, light, joy, all of that in your home, inside yourself. Don't let these fools, these people acting like fools, steal your joy. Be ready. You know what I'm saying? Keep your eyes open, but don't go out there looking for trouble. Because trust me, these people looking for a reason. They looking for a reason. And I guarantee you, they can push your buttons and none of that's gonna matter because in the end and at the end of the day, you're gonna be at fault. Sit your behind down somewhere. Be prepared. Be wise. But y'all have a good day. Love you. Bye.